Today we're going to talk about something called as a destination postcard. So, what exactly is a destination postcard?
So Harish, thank you. Let's paint or write a destination postcard for this series, right? So it is the year 2030, and the series that we are talking about different up leveling mind levers, smart levers as we call them, uh, has just been put together as this. I don't know what the equivalent of a Netflix series would be in 2030. I can't call it DVD series as well. So something like that, which it's grown to be 1,000 episode series, and we've talked about so many different ideas. It has just gone into the third and fourth equivalent of a reissue or a reprint, and we have been getting letters saying that thank you, this has really helped us up level. So how would you feel about something like this?
Oh, I would feel fantastic. And the elephant in me is really raring to go for this
If you don't know
from the
what the
Switch
elephant
framework.
is, go back a few episodes. So, the idea of the destination postcard comes from a book that we discussed a few episodes ago. And the idea has been around in different forms, which is uh, go into the future and look back. And look back, not in a, it would be good for this to happen, but talk about it in the here and now. Use present tense, say that this is, or just, past tense. It's just something has just happened, and you're just recording something having happened. So, Harish, you may have heard of the practice of trying to write your own obituary or imagining a Wikipedia article about you. So these are all mechanisms like the destination postcard of kind of fast forwarding into the future and looking back and saying, what would you like to have aimed for? And for people who are asking, what should our, where should we head? What should we go towards? These exercises really help you articulate what that world will look like. So coming back to a destination postcard, like the name sort of suggests, it's a postcard you write to yourself or to a group of people. You have reached your destination and you're sending them a postcard from that destination. So you have reached an achievement, a milestone, and this is something big. This is not one of those destination postcards that you would send when you are in transit. You are not at an airport lounge and you're sending a message that everything is good so far. You've actually reached your holiday destination and you're soaking in the sun on the beach. So the destination postcard tells you a bunch of people in very concrete terms and very compact terms where you want to head towards. And another, I think, favorite example of ours is that is creating a magazine cover which tells you you've arrived. And the only problem is we don't know if magazines will be there in the year 2030.
Right. So what are people really missing out on if they don't know or if they don't apply this concept of a destination postcard?
Right. So a lot of us, when we think about future relevance or even up-leveling, is that even if you're convinced that the process is more important than the destination or the goal, we always want to have something in front of us which plays the role of reminder, saying that this is where we are headed towards, or can energize the troop, just like the famous Kennedy moonshot of saying we will get to the moon and bring humans back. Both those parts were very important. So it's something that can serve as a rallying cry, a compass, a reminder in the fog of future relevance, battling future relevance. So if you don't have something like a destination postcard and you have something like a mission statement or something which is very abstract, and like we've discussed in our episode on Made to Stick and the Success Framework, is that human communication often is very concrete. When you have very abstract terms like we want to hit this revenue number or we want to be number one in so and so area, it can feel very uninspiring at times because you don't know what it really means to feel that very emotionally. It doesn't make your the hair on the back of your neck stand up. So a destination postcard or its equivalents can, if you're planning a new journey. It can show you an example of where you can get to. If you have troops, you have elephants that are sort of have to be roused into action, that can serve as a moonshot or a rallying cry. So a destination postcard paints a picture in such rich terms that you say, I better start coloring.
Yeah, and I think one thing that you mentioned earlier was also the tense in which you write, or the point in time when you're writing this. This is when you've actually reached that destination, so you have to sort of describe how you feel, what are the different things that you can sense at that point in time and place when you've reached that destination.
Absolutely. So, in fact, there is this whole class of thinking methods, right? I think we'll maybe talk about some of them in future episodes. Something like, say, pre-mortems, or something like Amazon's PR FAQ. They all sort of, there's this line attributed to Wayne Gretzky about skating to where the puck will be. In some sense, you start from today, you kind of fast forward into the future. You kind of try and figure out where the pucks could be in the future. And then you work your way backwards and you say, no, this is what we want to try and achieve.
Right. Yeah. So any concrete examples of how we have used the idea of a destination postcard in our work, Raman?
So destination postcard has very often come in handy whenever you have a group of people who are trying to envision the future, think about future relevance for themselves or for their teams. And so it can bring a lot of concreteness to that whole exercise like we spoke about. So if you're maybe running a workshop around, say, building social capital, you could say that envisage a future where you've just been nominated as an influencer on a social media platform. That's an example of one way to do it. One place I like to talk about our use specifically is in creating what we call as a culture manifesto. So a lot of teams, when they're trying to trying to nail down their culture, what is it that makes us distinctive? Why will people come and work with us and continue to work with us? What is the promise that we make to our employees, if we think of them as our customers? Is that so these kinds of things, they often get into the tangle of abstract words. So you want to have integrity in it, but what does integrity really mean? Or I want to say we want to have innovation as a value. What does that really mean? So we start this workshop with painting of this future, right? We take a destination postcard exercise or an equivalent exercise, and we ask each member of the participants in the workshop to say that what is it that I would say that we've been successful doing. What would be an example of that? So someone might create a magazine cover which says we are in the Fortune 500 list. For someone else, it could be a social impact that they have created and they've been featured in a magazine for that. So everyone brings their vision of the future, and your culture manifesto is later going to have abstract things like the list of values, the purpose of the company. But you can look at these concrete stories. This is like writing science fiction about your own company in some sense, right? And you can look at it at every stage and say, is this going to get us to some of these future scenarios that we have painted? Will we be in a position to send ourselves that postcard in 10 years' time?
Right. And then you work towards making it a non-fiction.
Absolutely.
Right. So any contexts or roles that you can think of where our listeners can actually use this idea?
Right. So I think a lot of leaders listening to this will be familiar with the idea of a big, hairy, audacious goal, the BHAG, like the moonshot sort of a thing. What happens when such visions are laid? So anyone in a position to set out a vision who's trying to make it inspirational, not just a smart sort of a goal, but also a very emotionally charged up sort of a goal, is that sometimes you have the trouble that people don't get what you're trying to say. It's very crystal clear in your mind. Not everyone is Kennedy and not everyone has the moon out there waiting for them. So your job is to create that concrete, emotionally charged up sort of vision of the future. So in a case like that, you could create these destination postcards or equivalents. The other thing is that, like we did in our workshops, for culture manifesto building is it's a way to get people involved in that future building, right? It's not just your vision, it's a shared vision, and there could be different manifestations of that vision. So if you're a leader and you're trying to get people to understand and also throw their weight behind a certain direction, then you show your destination postcard, but you can also get them to build their own destination postcard, and therefore the ownership is kind of shared. Like that famous story of staying with the moonshot, the famous story of the janitor who was supposed to have said that I'm not cleaning bathrooms at NASA, I'm helping to send a man to the moon. So that was his idea of the destination postcard.
Right, and I think just to wrap it up, the minor difference between setting a BHAG and the destination postcard is the BHAG still seems like at an arm's distance, whereas the destination postcard is where you actually feel yourself, in that situation. So it seems much more personal.
Correct, and I think that is where a postcard is so much more relevant or easier to resonate with compared to something like, say, a Wikipedia article, right? Some people don't believe that they will ever have a Wikipedia article for them, but everyone can see themselves sending a postcard to themselves or to others.
All right. Yeah. So I think that was a nice way of setting up what a destination postcard is. Yeah.
Correct. So let me also say that since we kind of said we don't know whether Netflix will be around or whether there will be all these things in the future, maybe we should start thinking about a destination tweet or a destination episode which you record today and you want to listen to it 10 years in time, or send it 10 years later, and it should kind of be relevant. So destination tweets maybe is one way to look at it.
Yeah, let's do that for this series as well.